The Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords. And
Do you want the Star Wars trilogy and the mythology to go beyond your lifetime?
No. 3 will be the last film, and it'll be a 6-part series, and that'll be the end of it.
Incorrect.
You're not mentoring someone to take over for you?
No, it's...
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
There may be other venues for it, but not in the theatrical release.
Affirmative.
I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek.
Well, hello there. It's me, your buddy, Admiral Teag. It's good to see you there. And you know what? We'll have the general down in a moment. There we go. Hey, everybody. It's me and my pal, Sydney Sweeney, here to say hi to you. Hopefully, you're doing good. Welcome. It is Friday afternoon streaming for vengeance. After I saw my uncle, who is a priest, I was forgiven for all the bad things I've done. And I'm on a total blank check right now. State of grace. Ready to do whatever I have to do. First thing I'll do is sell you. I will give you my immortal soul for a couple of likes and also a recommend. Do me a favor, if you could, please. Take a moment. Hit the like button. Whether you're here at the top of the show while I'm live or you're coming through later, hit that like button. And please, leave me a comment. Ask me a question. Just an emoji. Anything. It really helps grow the show. And when you're under the kind of stress that I'm under, gosh knows, any help growing is more than welcome. And Lombardi 1969 is here. It's good to see you. Right now, it's just you, me, and like one lurker. To the lurker, I apologize, my friend. I have to do subscriber mode right now. But if you join, you can talk to me in about 5 minutes, and if you don't like the channel, it's all right. You can just quit. I won't hold it against you, but if you want to, you can join, and in a few minutes, you'll be able to talk. Because of some of the problems we've had here, it seems like the better part of hour, rather than getting upset about some of the things that I have to hear, to just simply keep it to, just my friends. Staying about the same is one of the things we're going to ask about. Here's the thing. Are MCU movies, not TV, because the TV I think might be hopeless. Are MCU movies improving? So what I think are the choices are aside from like the stream and see the results, which you wonderful people are always welcome to do instead of voting, because this is, gosh knows, not an election with much consequences as far as this channel goes. Just our little election here. Here we go. So you guys have a chance to vote on this one. Are MCU movies, not TV, improving? Now, there's an argument to be made that they're improving. There's an argument to be made that they're getting worse. And there's an argument to be made that nothing's changed. This one is a pretty safe, defensible argument for everyone. So just kind of remember, the things that we're stipulating here, they are so debatable that no one is out there on their own in Crazyville. So I know I don't have to ask you guys to respect each other's views, because you will. The thing is that no one is wrong to take any one of these three positions or to see the results and like the stream. I personally think that they're staying about the same, but that's because even though there is an improvement, you're not wrong to argue that. They're staying about the same because what they're improving, it is so slow. It has taken them so long to get here with their improvements that it's hard for me to say that anything that takes that long to start getting interesting is any good. And that's something that I also say about the Andor show, both seasons. Gavin Blackburn, my friend, is here. Please forgive me for speaking to you in American. I'm sorry, Gavin. I forgot most of my English today. Well, when I was on Northern English Bastard a few weeks ago, I used so much of my second language of English. And boy, it was difficult to remember to put all those extra words in there when we talked about Miami Harbor and stuff like that. And you know what? I hope I did a good job. And from what I understand, my own name is misspelled in British. I should have like a superfluous UE at the end. So it's your buddy Admiral Teag from America. It's good to see everyone there. And you know what? Please, like I said earlier, if you're coming through later, leave me a comment or a question. If you're here now, the likes really do help. And also sharing off of the browser for YouTube really helps. And I've had to do a lot of YouTube specific content the last few weeks as we slowly shake off the sting of a couple of community warnings way back in the last year. But, it hangs around for a while. And certainly we've had people doing things that mess up the analytic that haven't helped us either. And you know what? If we could get a fair shake from YouTube, imagine where we'd be. But we're already doubling up a lot of those critics out there. Gavin Blackburn, my friend, says, I haven't watched the latest stuff, but I can't see any improvement, and the damage to the property is huge. Oh, it's huge. They seem like, here's the thing, the things that we could argue that they improved may not be enough. And the thing that I would argue about the improvement is, at this rate of improvement, where will we be before we get to a reliably mediocre movie? Because we have pushed the bar way down by and it's so weird, like living memory and living movie memory. It's like, I don't know, do they keep all pre-2015 movies off of TV? Hopefully Avengers Doomsday will be a great movie. Who are your Avengers? Because the thing is, I don't know if you were here, Lombardi. I don't think you were. I saw Thunderbolts, okay? Thunderbolts was Thunder Revolting. They re-origined the name. It's not about Thunderbolt Ross, but in a dose of severe confusion. This movie that was finished before Captain America has the original Thunderbolt Ross from the other Hulk movie, not the first one, but the first Marvel acknowledged one. And at this point, honestly, just bring the Ang Lee Hulk in and use that. At least we had Jennifer Connelly. It was a little stupid. This movie existed in a place where it was trying not to be too stupid, but they are just salad shootering the jokes at you in this movie. We went through the unrelated chain of events that this movie was. There was no cause and effect, really. And also the most conveniently written movie I have ever seen. So deeply convenient. No respect for our IQ as the audience. And we started out with something that was just like, it's not considered great filmmaking. So if I'm making Marvel, right, I'm figuring right away, like, if you're like a director, you're probably, oh my gosh, hey, it's our pal, RRTNZ. $5 super chat says, here's 5 New Zealand dollars for vengeance. Chuck Norris can visit Taco Bell, order the best sushi in the world, and he'll get it. plus a complimentary Big Mac. I gotta be honest, if he walked into my Red Lobster, I would send people out to get whatever food he wanted from whatever store he wanted, let him eat it right there and then. If he wanted to, fire a pistol out the window for a while, I would let him do that. He's Chuck Norris. The man can do no wrong. What we still have time for, and maybe we can get, is a Chuck Norris, William Shatner buddy film. Could you imagine how great that would be? They're just about the same age, right? And we could just how about this? Like they go over the fence and ditch their families. They're kind of let them play what they are, old crazy actor action stars. And it's they walk into some place and people don't I know you? And it's like what William Shatner will try to turn on the cop vibe from TJ Hooker. And maybe he'll get someone to surrender their car to them or something like that. Who knows? You could have a lot of fun with that. We deserve the Chuck Norris, William Shatner buddy movie, but thank you. Thank you so much. And Gavin Blackburn says, Marvel, Doctor Who, Star Trek, and Star Wars. I never thought I'd see the day when all those properties were functionally dead. We talked about this the other day. Doomcock asked which one of those was the deadest, and before voting got underway, I said unification proved that in under 8 minutes you can save Star Trek. It's the easiest one to do. If people had the desire, we could save Star Trek and we could be interesting again. It is the easiest one to do. And what happened was Doctor Who and Star Wars were 44.5 to 44.4. I think Star Wars slightly outstripped it. That is probably popularity. The Star Trek people have done a fantastic job of driving off all interest in covering their show, even from pundits. Part of this is because of Paramount's super mean problems. Yeah, exactly, Lombardi 1969. Mr. House Party 6, greetings, my friend. It's good to see you. You know what? Thank you for accounting for your presence here, and I love that all of you are here. Like I said, tweet out off the browser that I'm live. It really is the beginning of a new month as we just passed by May Day. I'm sure plenty of commies were happy. This Admiral has been in the Cold War for a long time, but you know what? If we just stopped forcing me to counterpunch, it would be over, wouldn't it? That's my message. Anyway, let's talk about my 2 movie experiences in 24 hours. I saw at the same time on one day and the next. On Wednesday at 4:20 p.m., I saw Revenge of the Sith. I then went home, took a nap, freshened up, had a good meal, stopped off the pizza place, had another good meal, went to the movie theater, sat down, and watched Thunderbolts 24 hours later. If you count the time from the end of the one movie to the beginning of the next and the travel time, it was 19 hours turnaround. It's not like I pulled a double movie shift or anything. And Revenge of the Sith, I didn't review. I went to see that twice in the week it was out for pure enjoyment. $900 million. Leave it in the theater another week, you fucking fools. You don't want $1.8 billion. If it falls and you only get half, you don't want $1.2 billion. You fools! Disney, you idiots. So on Wednesday night, I see something Disney bought, something they acquired, something that has nothing to do with their actual vision or their craftsmanship or the way they see things. Revenge of the Sith had as many people in it as Thunderbolts. It did. And both times I saw it, by the way. And Thunderbolts, I saw Thunderbolts a little later. I didn't see the first show. I saw the second show to give it a chance to have some kind of accumulation of people. The first show seems to be underattended no matter what. So the second showing, the one that was after high school let out and stuff like that in schools, you gotta figure single dads are there with their kids and stuff like that for previous movies. None of that. No excitement for Thunderbolts. Revenge of the Sith, complete opposite. In Revenge of the Sith, there were 40 to 60 people in the theater, and they cheered a few times. They really cheered a few times. They loved it. They loved what they saw. They're enraptured. I was enraptured. It was even stuff that didn't really hit me when I saw the movie. Anakin, something wonderful has happened. All that stuff, it's I don't care if the council knows we're married. All those lines that didn't hit the first time, I'm like, damn, this is like Shakespeare compared to what we've had for almost 20 years since. We only got a few more years of good movies after Revenge of the Sith. And then, in this amazing, powerful, fantastically scored, absolutely Shakespearean and in some ways Arthurian tale of of the tale of Luke Skywalker's predecessor, Anakin, and how we go full circle and really end before we began in an unusual way. Lucas hadn't planned it like that, but that's what we got. I felt it was the ending we deserved, and I unapologetically say that while I know that there are Star Wars movies that are better, specifically A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, my two favorite Star Wars movies are tied for number one. These are the ones I put on. I'm sorry. I feel how I feel. I don't know what it says about how good they are. It's Revenge of the Sith 1 and Return of the Jedi 2. I love the completion in all of them. I love the confrontation with the Emperor. I love how he's not just a great actor, but he's immediately effective. Mr. House Party 6 Cloaks. If I see you out there, look at that distortion on the screen. Mr. Sulu, track it. I was 7 years old when A New Hope came out. So with it, yep, okay. So the 69, Lombardi 69, and Admiral Teag 69, same thing. We're both from the same year. It was a very good vintage. I don't know what to say except I will take Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as the number one movie in America the week I was born. I'll take My Way by Francis Albert Sinatra as the number one song in America the week I was born. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. I think that 1969 was a fantastic year, and that makes us both the same age as Nerdrotic. So we have about as much pop culture depth as anyone could have without really being old farts yet. And I'm not saying I'm super young. You are, I'm not. So I was the same age sitting in that theater, and my mind was fucking blown. But I will say this, leaving the theater, the conversation with my uncle was about Star Trek and the Planet Killer episode, the episode with the Doomsday Machine. I was like, was it Star Trek? How come Captain Kirk didn't help? And he's like, it's a different world. They're different people. And he kind of explains what a franchise is in a way. Believe it or not, I didn't get dumb until I was older. I was like really smart and I was like a prodigy. But like, here's the thing. I didn't have wisdom, like genius level. I had wisdom beyond my years, not wisdom beyond what we got. I was always as smart as a 10th grader. It was some weird shit I could read at a 10th grade level when I was little, right? So I really appreciated Star Wars, not deeply and not like the kind of way you could with you, because I didn't have wisdom yet, you know what I mean? But I had some comprehension. I could tell you what the words meant, but I couldn't tell you what it meant emotionally, if that makes any sense. I could read and comprehend the give us your poor and give us your hungry. I could read and comprehend Narnia, but I didn't deeply feel the meaning of it or what it meant. Does that mean anything to you guys? It's sort of like when you hear distant voices, where you hear voices but not words. You can tell who's speaking, but you can't tell what they're saying. I knew what I was hearing, but I couldn't have elaborated on it, and I didn't truly understand things like being deeply in love for years and years and years when you're only, say, 10. Or Satan. Whichever you might say I am. Let's see. Two events I remember from 77. Star Wars and Elvis dies. I remember both very clearly. They're just about the same time. Elvis dying and Star Wars coming out is kind of like a double whammy turn of the page. We're left to wonder, had Elvis lived, his next record would have been due around 1980. So somewhere between 76, when the last album comes out, with Burnin' Love, a song that he wrote, as he starts to exert a little more instrumentalism later in his career, whatever else he had as problems, he did have a little bit of curiosity to be a guitar player. He realized it wasn't just nonsense and magic. And by the way, worst performance as a musician is in that Doors movie, guys. Man, Robbie Krieger is so embarrassed by the way he was portrayed. The way that what is it, Robert Wally or whatever his name is, Paul Wally, just waves his hand around and just waggles his hand around in the air. It is kind of a sad, and I heart your chat, RRTN said. Thank you so much. I do remember seeing Star Wars. I even remember filling up with gas. I remember the smell of the leaded gasoline at the now closed kind of gas station at the edge of my town when we went to the theater. I remember wasting time in the mall while we waited for the movie to start. I remember like the clothing rack that me and my little cousins hid under while we played games, and we didn't realize we were going to leave the movie to a new world. I even remember the other movies playing. Looking for Mr. Goodbar and Marathon Man, I'm pretty sure were the ones playing at that multiplex. And the line was around the block and up the street to see Star Wars. We had to get there super early. I had the longest conversation. My cousins were talking about having seen the Salem's Lot movie with David Soul, and then this incredible movie happens. And we're not too far away from that King Kong movie that keeps getting compared. You know, when monkey cry, when monkey die, everybody cry. That's 76, and that one doesn't really do it for us. But, you know, the pop culture pulse is going. And if you're that age, you're the age I am. Now, you may not have had this depending upon where you are, but where I am, this starts happening while I'm watching Star Trek in reruns. This back to the earliest episodes I remember. Meet Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, and Captain Kirk, Lieutenant Uhura, and Chekhov at the Star Trek convention. Be at the first ever Star Trek convention at Madison Square Garden from January 5th till January 8th, 1975. I kind of remember stuff like that. I remember that there was going to be a Star Trek convention, and then after that Star Trek convention, there was always going to be another one. It was always a few months off, and my parents were always going to take me, and I just remember my dad was like, that's going to be a friggin' freak show. But he did love that I watched Star Trek. He just didn't love that it came on when the Mets were on. What can I tell you? I love the smell of gasoline in the morning. It smells like victory. It does smell like victory as we stream for vengeance. And you know what? One of the things, and if you guys could like and share, it helps. I want to address something that was said on X, that because of my channel size, I don't have a representative amount of concurrence. First of all, I have a worldwide appeal with the Star Trek thing. There are markets for Star Trek around the world. That's first of all. So it's an ignorant statement to say that all my concurrents would be awake and around at the same hour when we have people, you know, in New Zealand who we get to see sometimes, but, you know, not often enough, although RRTNZ is here now. If this show is on at a different time, I don't get to hang out with him. The show is on strategically at different times during the week, but I cannot announce, I cannot publicize, and I cannot tweet this out. If you notice, when you tweet out my link, it doesn't have any tile. It doesn't have the engageability of a regular YouTube link. I have to reconstruct the link in a certain way so that it can't be weaponized against me. It prevents some of the bot attacks. I don't want to get too deeply into it. They also have to come on unannounced while the people that seem at least to favor the attacks are on. Now, if somebody was to stop finding every reason to go out there and say that it was good and right to swarm my channel with bots, or that I deserve to have these bot attacks, I would say I would be moving on, especially with my X rhetoric. But for those who think that I need their help, or I need their permission, or I need their forgiveness, or I gotta protect their brand, I say, fuck you, it's a big internet. I have never taken anybody on. I have never started any shit, but I have never, ever surrendered. I have never, ever, ever, and never will lose, and I have never, ever started anything. And you know what? I've never asked for help. I have available people that I could just go to and ask for help. People ask me. People come to me for help, okay? I feel like I'm Mo Green. You can't really make me laugh. I don't buy you. You don't buy me out. I buy you out. I'm Mo Green. Now, that didn't end up very good for Mo Green, but the bottom line is this. This is when I started. I'm going to be on at this time. I can't publicize it the way I should. And those who want to criticize my show, with half the amount of people that I have roughly, you're not pulling half the amount of views I do once people have a chance to watch it. And I see my average watch time is fantastic. So I thank everybody coming through later, especially my buddy Kyle Cullen, who always leaves a comment, and everyone who wants to, you know, help fuel this channel forward. Yo, good day to you, John the Beagle Dad. I was 10 years old when Star Trek The Motion Picture came out in December 79. Yeah, if it's December 79, by the end of 79, I guess I'm 10 years old too, right? That's how that works. Or did I turn 9? I'm having a hard time with that one. We passed the 0 year. I got to ask my mom. But here's the thing. That movie came out on December 7th, 1979. And I remember seeing the ad in the summer and being like enraptured, like, I have to see this. Oh my God, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Star Trek is getting their movie. It's going to be so much better than the Star Wars movies because Star Trek is so great. even after seeing the Star Trek TV show and the Star Wars movie, I realized that there was a difference between a movie and a TV show. I had that much comprehension. And Star Wars used to be so much of an event. And what is it now? Like, what is Star Wars now except the source of mockery and memes? From now on, if we have a situation where there's an attack in the Old West, I might be using Double Talk Lake, and then these two Guardians Andored this chick. They Andored her. Who knows what I mean? Only everyone. These Star Wars shows are self-destructing. Their fandom is so huge. It was always bigger than Star Trek, but it's huge. Only 11% of people responding to Doomcock's poll, which got hundreds of votes, thought that Star Trek would be the most far gone of the three. A lot of people responded. I got over 50 likes on the idea that it would be easiest to save Star Trek and that unification proved it. Doomcock himself, the first like. And I salute our master overlord. I hope he'll permit me to rule over queens. If not, sir, you're in for stiff resistance, because believe me, I'm good with a butterfly knife. But I love Doomcock, and I'm pretty sure that he would agree to let me rule over queens. And I think I've super chatted him a couple of times asking for permission, so I think he's on the record saying yes for queens for Teague. So you know what? Don't worry about those elections. Admiral Teague will be your ruler. And we said good morning, and we share the same memories. Yeah, we're all like... We have gentlemen of a certain age here, and I know that when I look at this analytic, I do have a lot of the 18 to 24s. We don't have anyone younger than that. It's not marketed to them. And yeah, you're 8 when the motion picture came out, so just a little bit younger, same age bracket. Exactly, we're in high school at the same time is how you have to think about it. And like the lifetime of living high school students I have come up with is 6 years. If you're there the year after someone leaves, they're still part of the living memory of that high school while you're there. Their memory kind of like it's there until you're gone to forget about them. But then you become part of that. So it's like a generation of high schoolers is any given 6 years. If you're 7th year, like the year ahead of the first year that gets out the year ahead of the person starting, you're not part of the meta of how that worked out. If you started high school in 1980, your meta is so ridiculously different than 78. Like one half cycle of high school students before. Think about it. 78, you get out in 82, you're ending with Asia. There's disco going on big time, but it's like really adversarial to the rock and roll all the time. It's to the point that it's so different it can coexist with the same people liking both. The death disco thing comes later, and we've got people united by cultural experiences. Like everybody just liked Kiss. It was weird, or maybe that's because I'm from Queens and so are they. But it's good to see everyone greeting each other. And when I saw Revenge of the Sith on both Wednesday and again on both the Thursday that you could first see it and the night before last on Wednesday, I deeply enjoyed it. And I apologize that the AC has to go on. There'll be a little bit of background noise. I'll turn it off as soon as it cools off a little here. It spiked up over 80 degrees really quick. In New York City apartment buildings, when you're up a few floors, you get what's called ambient heat. I got some ambient heat going on, so it's much hotter than it is outside. The floors downstairs, the heat just radiates up. So good afternoon and good morning. Looking forward to baseball and apple pie tonight. I'm not the biggest apple pie fan, but I will be watching baseball. I've been watching a lot of baseball, and I seem to be, as usual, just enjoying the game without absorbing anything. And I guess it's because my favorite team, the Yankees, and my deputy favorite team, the Mets, are impossible for me to really watch. I guess I could get on Cosby and look around and sail the high seas and other stuff that people do, but the Yankees and the Mets are like, it's an expensive proposition. And I break it up like this. The Mets are so close to my apartment that I can go there and seats for the Mets are less than a month of the Mets app. If I go to the cheaper seats in the stadium, Citi Field, really well constructed, great view of the whole ballpark, so I can enjoy myself there for about $20 and a great view. And I love going there, and I love the Met games, and I love the experience, and Mr. Met, childhood friend, and, meet the Mets, step right up and greet the Mets, bring your kiddies and bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really hitting the ball, socking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to see those METS Mets of New York town. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? It's a fun kind of thing to do. They're not the Yankees, so it costs a lot less. For like $80, I could go see the same seats for the Yankees, and they'll almost definitely win, and they'll tub thump the enemy, and it'll be great. And like, you know, we'll run out the other team on like spits. It'll be great. It'll be like medieval, like torture, you know, like they absolutely vanquish them. With the Mets, it's a little more competitive, but the pricing reflects it. So I can enjoy like seeing the Phillies because they're a good team. I can enjoy seeing the Dodgers because they're a good team. So I go to that and I take advantage of the $20, and which resulted in I once went 30 games between seeing the Mets win. It's crazy. RRTN says the bot swarms are like projections in Inception. If you hang around long enough, they attack. Yeah, that's why I keep my talismans with me. And, you know, if it happens, it happens. You know, we have to learn to accept this. YouTube seems to largely see through it. Attacks have been made over and over on the upload content that YouTube has analyzed, and I've even had a chance to contact YouTube to analyze the streams during the attacks, so they're starting to zero in and filter it out. So we're getting much better results, but remember, anything that got swarmed, what you receive as the result is always much lower than it was. Like we had a 1,400 we had a 1,400 view stream. The concurrents were hanging out really high, but then a bot swarm of about 100 to 200 came in, and that wasn't legitimate. So they cored out the watching of my entire show. I've kept the shows shorter, so they're more reapproachable and watchable at 2 hours and always under 3, except on Saturday nights. And people seem to be having the thing about Saturday is amazing. I'll get to that next. But, you know, the long and short of this, I cannot promote or make a big deal about coming on at this time the way I would like to. And really, it's not in my hands. Streaming for vengeance is necessitated by the attacks on the other streams. When I start getting more clean streams like I did the other night, you know, things will be a lot different in Admiral Teag land. And I would ask that you join me. If you're out there and you're listening to this, join my channel. Help me fight back. There are voices out there who do not want an independent reviewer to tell you about movies like Thunderbolts, which it had a logical through line, but it didn't make sense. You could follow the chain of events, and you had to just scoff at a couple of things, and I wanted to walk out. It was so stupid a couple of times, but the thing was, it only contradicted itself just so much. There was stupidity control, for lack of a better term. It wasn't out of bounds anymore. Unlike Captain Sam Falcon Man, the movie had pretty decent sets, pretty decent production values, pretty decent CGI. It didn't leave me gobsmacked. Like the Fantastic Four trailer looked like such shit still. And everything we see makes it worse. And the Superman trailer looks like such shit still. And everything we see makes it worse. I mean, I could be talking about both of them. Every time I see those trailers, I am reverse enthusiastic for it. And that's why I gave Thunderbirds a D instead of like, you know, an F. Thunderbirds is a D. It came to class. It showed up. It was at least a superhero movie. Were these superheroes any good? No. I didn't think they were any good at all. Taskmaster, the most vexing character that we inherited from Black Widow, just dead. Just dead in about 12 minutes. The Wild Scrum, and I'm sorry, I was coughing a bit and I wanted to turn off the AC. The Wild Scrum that starts our movie with all these people kind of crashing into each other at the same place at the same time on some kind of mission. Just absolutely ridiculous as the AC kicks back on because it really is just too hot in here. What am I going to do? Anyway, I apologize. That Thunderbolts movie didn't need to happen. Throughout this movie, we're getting Yahtzee vibes. and Yahtzee feelings and Hydra kind of stuff coming off of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's whatever her name was. I gotta look it up again in my notes. The best thing about that movie is that the details of it are fast fading from my mind. It really was. It was great to have those details start to sort of fade away. It's a movie that I've now seen like just about 3 times, and I gotta tell you, it's last I heard currently ahead of Shang-Chi, but behind Cap 4. Its Rotten Tomatoes is in the 90s. That is some bullshit. By the way, is that Scully in the Tron Legacy, is it called? It's half the time we usually wait for a Tron movie, but I don't know what to tell you about it. But I'll reread what I read last night. This is the review that's out there from me. Thunderbolts is a chaotic, poorly executed Marvel film centered on a dysfunctional team of anti-heroes led by Yelena Belova. To that matter, Yelena Belova as a leader, man, she just absolutely abuses these people. It is the gunny sergeant from Full Metal Jacket, but as a combat leader. We're the channel that turns bot swarms into our own perverse entertainment. Boy, you should see how many bots are in the channel jail. There's like at least 400 of them in there now, because it's happened a few times. And I would have to say to the people doing it, all you've done is galvanize my subscriber base, which, honestly, I could have done that on my own, and I didn't need you to, but the results of what you've done have not harmed me. I wouldn't say they benefited me. You've scrambled my analytic. That's about the best you've done. But by consistently just taking the time out to get onto YouTube and chat with them, which I don't like doing, but I'll do, I don't think I'm ever going to have any real complications from it, because I'm just I don't know about this engagement. The only thing I have to accept is that at this point, the channel does occasionally get legitimate waves of engagement that big. Everything was verified about the 1,200 watch show, but it was revised to the 991 watch show. How 300 watches could go away, I think that was when we were getting swarmed and we had the 300 concurrence. Concurrence for that show only hit 12. It doesn't matter. If I have a panel show right now with 3 panelists and there's 11 people watching, I have 8 people watching. All right? That's what I'm saying. You have 8 people watching. If there's 3 on your panel and you're watching yourself for quality control. That's one view right there. And then each panelist, that's a view. And then, whatever they bring. I have no panelists. I'm my own draw. I'm not in an announce time. I come out here and I just do what other people can't. I entertain people and I have a rewatchable show. Could it be because I let you make up your own minds about who should be your leader? Could it be because my views do not come into my movie reviews, but I still am very pragmatic and real world? Could it be that? Under no flag but the flag of the Admiral Teag reviewing channel do I do any of this. Now, I live my life under the flag of the United States, and I'm proud of that. You'll never make me feel bad, and that was one thing about Thunderbolts I thought was nuts. The only person allowed to be proud of where they were from was Commie Glutton, and they hated him for being a man, but they made his only good characteristic wrapped around communism for a reason. We keep seeing this in these Marvel movies. This either soft sell or hard sell, but the communism they sell is really hard communism. It's Stalinistic. And it's hard to say that's a good communism or a less extreme communism. But the fact of the matter is, there are countries that have socialism, like Ireland, doing well enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to live anywhere but the United States, but some of these countries just aren't our enemies, and they have what by our American system would be judged socialism. Canada, socialism. Give me Zemo forming the Thunderbolts. I was under the impression he was supposed to be in that movie, Mark. Bad guys saving the world because they want to fool people and cause a destroyed world isn't worth conquering. You know what? We were almost there, but they weren't upfront about it or admitting of it. Then have Michael Keaton leading a revolt against a group saying we are heroes. Boy, Michael Keaton would be perfect. He's in this world as the Vulture. The Vulture is pretty much a guy driven to the badness in this movie universe. Their cinematic vulture is showing that he has some honor already at the end of his movie, where he's vanquished by Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming. That particular vulture is reformable, and Michael Keaton can do it. So yeah, why not? Why not? Let him be the character he already was. Why not? I'm down for it. I would love to see that movie, honestly. It's good to see it. And you know what? We've got all sorts of great things going on here, including breaking space news, which is that the Saturday show is doing great. We're really having a fun time with Enterprise, but I think the deal is we have picked up every Enterprise fan we can, but we have a great bit of news for you, is that what we're going to do is we want to try to document the whole TOS. We also don't want to burn all of TOS. So what's looking like happening is we'll try to stay chronological on TOS, and we'll keep that, say, every other week to give me time to grind out the uploads that we want to make. That'll be about 20 minutes long for every episode. So we would like to do that, and then have the indulgence and the goodwill of our fans to the other 2 weeks, the best of all other Star Trek. And we're talking like, we'll go with good TNG episodes. We'll go with really good episodes of, Voyager, the ones that, such as there are. There'll be a big focus on completing Enterprise, because we all believe that every episode we've watched, with rare exception, a handful, have been either very good or great Star Trek, but they're retcon Star Trek. And unfortunately, the show always had a bad rep. Is it messed up to say that all of Star Trek was destroyed by one song? I really like the song, but there's some truth to it. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Now, I have faith in the heart that by mixing in the original series and using the best of, and doing at least 1 or 2 Enterprises a month, I can still get pretty much every Enterprise episode. But guys, as a New Yorker, do you understand why I don't want to do the Xindi arc? I can't live for 20 weeks in the shadow of an analogy to 9/11. Now, I went easy on this, and I don't really call people out when they make jokes that I find tasteless about it, because I realize that I have a different perspective, and I have to respect the venue or the host. I was on another channel and someone got a bit flip about 9/11, and I just matched their tone and stayed calm about it. But I did pay a toll later by being a little upset. 9/11 to me, the screaming, the sirens, the crying, the funerals, the smell, the fire that burned for 20 weeks, all these things. Admiral Teag does not need to relive the worst day of his life, where the city he loved was a battlefield he hated. But I did do what I could on that day, and I did try to get to a relief center with water after I was told they didn't need any blood. So, I did what I could on the day that most people did in the city do what they could. And for a time we were united. Was it worth it? No. And is it worth going back into an analogy of it? I'd say deeply no. There's really no reason to jump into a 9/11 analogy that lasts for 23 weeks of my life. It's modestly unfair. And I would say that the thing is, it's not fulfilling. And the episodes, while good, we will honor them. We're going to do the attack, and we'll deal with my problems then. We will do the best Xindi episodes. And we will absolutely do the one where they steal that warp core, because it's so good. Didn't Norman Osborn form the Thunderbolts? I hear he's something of a scientist. It's Ross is supposed to be the Thunderbolt. He's the titular name, and he's in the movie for a moment, and John Hurt does look older, and he does look kind of sick, and he's like a husk inside of his suit. He's really, really gaunt, and he was a good actor who did good work from Chuck Everlasting and other great roles. He was a great actor. We loved him in so many movies, and we'll miss him. But, that's life. And we had him for a moment in this movie. He wasn't his greatest moment. It was nice to see him. I guess the movie has that going for it. They should have had Zemo. Unless he was in the 1 second where I went and peed, he wasn't in this. And he had credit in the IMDb. He was credited for being in the movie. Now, whether there was a flashback to Falcon and the Winter Soldier or something as crazy as they showed the events of it on TV in the background and we saw Zemo in that and they put him in the credits like that, that happens in these Marvel movies. It's how they do their spinning headlines thing. Now, post No Way Home, they could have a Tobyverse where when Loki and Thanos show up, okay, the Avengers are formed by Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus, and an armored Norman Osborn. It's the doors open to many things, including a Andrew Garfield verse. And I can't do this poll, but give me your answer in the comments. Andrew Garfield, is he gay or is he really going out with 62-year-old Demi Moore? He's 40. I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know. When Demi Moore was at her hottest, he wasn't born. She was engaged to Emilio Estevez before he was born. Now, good for you. You're doing it like a boss, Demi Moore. Or as I used to call her, Demi Moron, because I didn't think she was the greatest actress. But Demi Moore, you're a boss. But what's up with Andrew Garfield? Does anyone really believe this one? Dark Avengers and Justice League Dark are such cheap promotions. Putting dark in front of anything makes it sound edgy. Yeah, I would tend to agree. Although, I mean, I thank all my Dark Teagues out there, all the members of the Dark Teague League, who are like totally members of my society. Maybe I'll have a Dark Teague logo for like people after we hit the second year, because now I can't have another badge for a year. Let the Amazon man in. Hold on 1 second, friends. I feel like Mr. Robinson. Hold on 1 minute. Earlier today, I gave Mr. Landlord the rent. That went pretty funny. And by the way, no names, and it's no big deal. If the person hears this, I would say it was almost kind of funny. It pissed me off a little bit, but he is a good actor. I agree. He's not a good enough actor to convince me that he's not gay and actually wants to date Demi Moore. Although she doesn't look great for 62. She looks 62. He's 41. It doesn't make sense at all. But as far as this Enterprise experiment, here's the thing. The show was poorly served when it was on. It never got the love it deserved when it was on. Because of the way TV goes, there is no real syndication. Only in the last couple of years do we see the Tubies and the Plutos out there showing a lot of this stuff and MeTV. And that is starting to get interest in a lot of Star Trek shows, but I don't think that one of them is Enterprise, because there's an image thing to overcome. And where we were with Enterprise, it was important to go forward with it. But what could you do? Like the Voyage had come to an end on Saturday nights at 10. It had come to an end with Voyager. They had finished Voyager. They were out of Star Trek, and they only had Enterprise left. They did 4 shows a night. They would have been done with Enterprise by now. We tried to go with what would have been their logical next step anyway. And no one had started with Enterprise and gone forward before. So we thought that would be unique. Now, stuck in season 2, we're seeing them have good stories, but bad story choices for building a fandom and preserving it. Very bad story choices for building it. A lot of isolated people. A lot of stories where our heroes are alone. And hey, do me a favor. Please, like I said, if you haven't hit the like button, and if you could tweet out that I'm live, and this is even if you're listening later, could you do so? Because it really does help the old Admiral out. And what we're doing is we're fighting the fact that the analytic might be finally getting used to the idea that I show up at this time, but the thing that I can't count on is that people will know about it, because it doesn't give you that half-hour warning. People have only been figuring out that I'm live in the last 10 minutes. So I'm thinking that people will probably be showing up in greater numbers soon, and I am looking forward to that. But the unfortunate thing is I do have to be sort of surreptitious about the way I go about my social media career. I have to have my comments sent on subscriber only, or people take hacks at our friends like a Clobby. And it doesn't help with my engagement that people have to join the channel to chat. But I think we've all heard enough AI attacks on Clobby's character to understand why I can't allow anything but subscriber mode while we're on the air. And it's for the sake of decency. I cannot control who comments on my channel, but I can stop them from being able to push it through. I'm not going to allow character assassination. I will take the hit as far as growth goes, but I will not allow any measure I can take go unused when people are besmirching someone like Clobby, who did nothing but bring us entertainment and was a nice guy. So there are some people who have problems with me. If you go into the social media thing, guess what? People are going to have problems with you. That's that's too creepy. That's too creepy. That's better. Unfortunately, that's how it works, okay? When you go into social media, any expedition worth having, you're gonna break a few eggs. If you want to entertain, you want to have opinions. Unfortunately, you're going to have people that you offend a little bit here and there. You can't have a perfect world. If you want to entertain and be a little edgy, some people are going to get offended. I'm sorry if you are offended, but if you tried my show, I thank you. You're somewhat open-minded, and maybe you'll be a little more into it if you give me a little more leeway. And certainly, I appreciate any comments and feedback you guys have. And yeah, the Dark thing is old, and Andrew Garfield is an awesome actor. And I've got your chats up on screen now, along with gorgeous Sydney Sweeney, which last time really helped. We had some crazy after-hours views, and thank you to everyone who watches later. I want to address some of these other things said about the amount of people I could have at once on the concurrence thing. Not only is it an around the world thing that I cannot promote and I have to send out in an unfriendly sort of way, whereas I do not have the ability to have you just touch the tab and go. I have to put up a picture and the link so that the link is a certain way. And, the amount of harassment I resent all the anti-harassment work I have to do because of the people who just can't share the internet. Damn it, there's supposed to be enough room and enough people for all of us. I am not afraid to go out there and use my talents to hopefully recruit a few more people to my cause, because I'm going to serve you as best I can. I took our point of view, and if you're with this channel, you kind of agree with me, at least know where I'm coming from so that you could get some use out of it. I took our outlook and the outlook of this channel to the movie theater and saw Avengers, and you got a review for it the afternoon of the day of the premiere. I was right there for that. You guys wanted the Falcon review. I got you that. I was honored to do it. The Snow White review, you guys wanted it. I went and saw it. I was honored to do the reviews. I've seen so many movies this year that I never would have gotten out of the house this much. Thank you guys so much. And let me tell you something. The honor of going there on your behalf kept me very serious about the reviewing of all the movies, and I did them all in my regular style. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. And I gotta be honest, the worst movie so far this year, outright, the worst movie this year is still Snow White. The second worst movie this year is probably Captain Falcon, because it was just such a disaster and so boring and stupid and had so many broken off plot arcs that you could see the broken parts of the movie showing up in the middle of it unannounced as though they'd been around and set up. The added dialogue, replacement to make up for the mistakes being made when they tried to cobble plots together. Giancarlo Esposito being in the movie for no other reason than to do what a day player could have done and fight it out a little bit. A below Zemo level role for Giancarlo Esposito. And you know what? Like, we see him in these movies, we appreciate him, but like, at what point does he get watered down too from being in too many bad things? A good example of this is Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is a huge star who is a good actor, and he's in a lot of big movies, but he's also in a lot of fucking horrible movies. And he also has small roles in some of the dumbest and worst movies. Like the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds, a fun movie, but it's not a good movie. And he's like got a lot of voiceovers. He shows up in like so many Tom Cruise weird ass movies and Will Smith weird ass movies. He's narrating so many of these terrible movies. He's in that weird, terrible movie where Keanu gets energy out of water with Rachel Weisz as his TNA girl. It's so old. Chain Reaction. And it's just like, Morgan, what are you fucking doing? You're in so many bad movies and you're such a talent. But at the same time, I mean, guys got to eat. I'm not going to second guess him, but like, we saw this happen where there was too much Morgan Freeman, and it gets to a point where you dilute your own brand. It kind of happened to De Niro in the 90s, and I keep highlighting this one. Let's get some new chats. We got some new people coming through. I would wish that one of the things that I was allowed to do was to ask for 30 likes as one of my goals, because that is something that I always want to get to as a YouTuber on any stream, is that when you hit that like 30 likes, it really is a great feeling. But we got 12 now, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Our MCU movies, not TV, improving. Yes, getting better, 0% out of 9 votes. It's getting close to a fairly representative amount of votes. You know, it's double digits here. 9 votes. Yes, they're getting better, 0%. So, wow. The optimism store. Am I right? They need an optimism store. And they need to give you money to take the optimism. That's how little hope there is. So no one thinks they're getting better. I would argue that you could say they're getting better because there were certain mistakes I saw in Wakanda Forever they were sure enough not to repeat. Now, I got to agree, Nope getting worse, 33%. Depends, really. It varies so much from movie to movie. Deadpool and Wolverine was deeply stupid, but it was kind of all right. It kind of had something. It wasn't the worst piece of garbage ever. Like, it had this here and there. There were moments and blah, blah, blah. And so that one, a lot better than, Falcon Man. Somewhere in the middle lies Thunderbolts, but it's a lot closer to Falcon Man than it is to Deadpool. Deadpool's a little rewatchable. Falcon Man's not rewatchable. I had to rewatch it a couple of times. It's not rewatchable. It sucks. And I can't tell you what happens in it that well anymore, but neither can they when you see it. And also, I would say I didn't dig the... I didn't dig Snow White the worst because of the overt communism, but second most communistic movie is absolutely... Is absolutely... To me, I would have to say Snow White is number 1 and 2. It's so big. It's so communistic. But I would say Thunderbolts is the second most communistic movie because what they're doing is one-note joke of a character, Red Guardian, is the only admirable one. Now, whether they did this on purpose or by mistake, I don't know. But the thing is, the source of his admirable trait, which is he wants to go to where people are in danger to save them because he can. That's it. Now, by the way, this is a great superhero trait. I'm sorry, I told you guys, pollen. It's a great superhero trait. He wants to save people because he can. But the source of this is his Soviet patriotism, right? So he talks about how he believed in certain parts of the party and how other parts of the party disappointed him. But, he talks about how, like, he's willing to do these things and self-sacrifice that no one else will. Walker is kind of tied, but Walker's not as vocal because I think they at least realize that he is hard to write because they fucked him up. So they write him off as a bad person and refuse to elaborate. He's just not. The imposed trait of being a bad father. It's just a Disney trope now, right? His wife left him because he was too self-obsessed. Hey, Colin is here. It's so good to see you live. And I love the avatar, man. Is that Daniel Boone? And hello, Mark Harkness. Let Falcon be Falcon. I agree. Post No Way Home. We could have had a Toby verse. I got that one. It's good to see Kyle Cohen. I got on while you're awake. It's good to see you. Listening live. All right. Wow. You know what? I go on at different times because I can. And I think we need to celebrate Kyle Cohen being here with something. You know what? You should see this.
Incoming transmission. Welcome to Saving Star Trek, a show talking about one of my favorite shows, Enterprise. I am Linda Park. I play Hoshi Sato and also Empress Sato. So enjoy this show. I love that it's finding a whole new life on the streaming services. And you better hit that like button or Empress Sato will not be happy. I mean, she could make a storm happen. And she could really make your life hard. Anyways, enjoy the show, hit that like button, and thank you for being a fan of Enterprise.
Welcome, Kyle Cohen! And you put me over the top. We're now beating the competitors as far as concurrent viewers. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's good to see you here. It's good to see you here, and you get this one too.
Because I can.
Kyle Cohen usually comes through later, always leaves me a comment. Great guy. I love seeing his comments and saying hi back to him. It's good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you here, and welcome to the big program. And it's great that you got to be here while I'm live. Tomorrow, by the way, I don't know if RRTNZ's in on this one, but I will be on Northern English Bastard doing Red Dwarf. I did not watch enough Red Dwarf, but I will be on the panel, and I do have 5 favorites. I might have to jump around a little bit and look at a favorite guide for users, but you know what? It was a fun show to watch. That research is really, really pleasant. Theme song, absolutely hilarious, and I had a great time. It's Davy Crockett, okay. Aesthetically, sort of the same. I thought he looked a little earlier because the outfit, but let's face it, like, people in that part of the United States dressed the same way for like 80 years because there was no one to make clothes, right? Let's see, Red Guardian should have looked at all of them like disappointed father. I may have been a poor father, but I'm still standing for something other than myself. He got way too much crap for the fact that he says in both movies, both being Black Widow and the Thunderbolts, that even though they weren't his children and that wasn't his wife, that he and the other agent, the female agent, who is played by Mrs. Daniel Craig, decided that they would try to be really good parents and give the kids the most normal life they could, despite the fact they were actually deep cover spies, along the lines of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I guess. I don't know. The movie's not clear on that. Black Widow's a terrible movie. But in both movies, he's got the dad jokes going on, but he doesn't get to do like too many dad things that are cool, and he doesn't get to be cool ever, and he's always inappropriate and out of it. And it was only in this movie, and I really I appreciated this part of the movie. During the chaos in Manhattan in front of the Stark Tower, he goes out of his way to save a bunch of people because he can. And he was, like I said again, the lone hero. And it was messed up that, Red Guardian was like still talking admirably of the Soviet Union left and right, which is not really done in all that much jest with the track record they have. And that Snow White movie was just communistic as could be. The least commie movie was Captain Falcon. And in that movie, they put the President of the United States on the raft in jail. Sorry, just a little bit of cherry Coke to slake my thirst. I like to drink cherry Coke during the broadcast, like George Lucas. It inspires me. Red Guardian, for trying to even want to be a father, mocked relentlessly, and sort of seen as a ridiculous person for wanting to do a good job with that. And then finally, Yelena relents and just calls him dad here and there, and expresses no gratitude, but acts back in a way that's appropriate towards someone you consider your father. She demands it. She's told she's been being given it as best he can as the, self-ordained father that he was. But, we have to take the character at his word. They don't do anything to contradict him. It's not like shot like at a Dutch angle. Like we're not, like he didn't do a double take. He says he really tried his best and he knew they weren't his. So a pretty altruistic statement from, you're a bad guy there. Whereas, basically you're a good guy saying, I did the right thing and whatever. I did it because I'm a virulent Soviet, though. I don't know how much that was great for the movie, but that was what they were doing. And by the way, here alone, with, I guess, one counting for me, because I do keep track of myself, although I don't keep the browser open, so I don't know if it counts. We are beating the other channel, because they got like 4 panelists and like 5 viewers, and I got 6 people watching right now, and I'm the only one here, so it's at least a tie against a scheduled show that has been very critical of my number. And I would say again, when I can't promote ahead of time or do the best kind of tweets that other people can do, the person who's saying that my numbers look weird, first of all, look at them after a couple of days, dimwit. And second of all, if the thing that I'm saying about how you're probably the guy doing it isn't true, why do you suddenly know everything about bot swarms when you say you know nothing about them the day before and you've never had one happen to you? When he was mad at Tony, Tony got bot swarmed. When he was mad at someone else, they got bot swarmed. He's been mad at me forever, and he's, finally under some pressure to leave me alone, and it seems like it's relenting. But until we start to see smoother sailing, I really have to just be on the air when I have a little bit of confidence that the computer that attacks me is engaged doing something else, namely streaming. And if it's not who I think it is, why does the person in question always champion that I should be swarmed and that I deserve to be swarmed and that people should do it and it's the right, just, and good thing to fuck up my channel? If they ever missed a chance on that, maybe some doubt that they were the person doing it might creep in. But we've got nothing but evidence that it's them, because I thrive while they're live. I outdo. Right now, we have 8 people watching this with one pundit, so that's 7. They have a total of 4 people on there with 9 people watching, it's telling me. So in other words, we're beating them by a couple of people. It's more entertaining. And I'm going to try to give you your money's worth here. We stream for vengeance and we give you your voice. Our MCU movies, not TV, improving. The vote is stagnated at 12. People have made it fairly scientifically viable for a community my size. Yes, getting better. Just no one thinks that. They do start avoiding some mistakes. This is the things that are getting better. Now, I watched the Black Widow movie. It's a couple of years old, but I watched the Black Widow movie. It takes a really long time, but they realize that they have to walk away from some bad shit. So the weird netting over your face that completely changes your face and that can be peeled off the way you peel off just like a bandana or like that you would have draped over your face. They walked away from that, the nano face changing. Thank God. It always looked terrible. The reveal was always terrible. It never worked. They did it even though they shouldn't have. Your scientists were so hung up on the fact that they could, that they didn't stop to wonder if they should. And, bad special effects find a way. And that's not a lot of shit. Bad special effects find a way. And bad special effects permeated the Falcon movie. In Thunderbolts, I mean, it wasn't as ambitious as Multiverse of Madness. So I would have to say it was like a far more successful sporadic use of CGI where we did get some stuff from it. And 14 likes. I thank everyone who keeps adding to the like total. We're almost halfway to my goal of 30 as we wind into the meat of the show here at the 1 hour and 8 minute mark. We got plenty of time left, but certainly we're in the thick of it now. DJ Play Nice, it's good to see you. You rock too, my friend. DJ Play Nice is the best. Great guy. I love all of you being here, and I can't thank you enough. Again, if you haven't tweeted out off of the browser that I'm live, unfortunately, rather than the community tab and setting up my streams, which have been turned into liabilities against me by whomever is doing the bot attacks, and believe me, it's a pain in the ass to avoid them and all the things you have to do. The engagement I would have unharassed is incredible. But a channel half my size criticized me for saying that these things are messing me up by saying that, look, he has only X amount of engagement. That not looking to see the number the next day when everyone around the world catches up to it. Because the light doesn't go on when you turn on your channel and just start streaming. We drop in out of the blue. High altitude, low high, I'm sorry, high, what is it? High altitude, low open jump, right? We jump out in the edge of space. We surf down like, at unbelievable speed. Then we have to slow down for like a super long time. And then at treetop level, we pull the chute. Oh my God, you got to wear a spacesuit while you do it. It's crazy. It's a space jump. It's not even parachuting. It's not even that. It's a space jump. It's not a parachute jump. It's a space jump. And it's crazy. And that's how I have to start my show. Don't get somebody half-hour notice to see that I'm live. As you see, we're doing all right now that people know we're on. So to dispute my live number is to just, that's disingenuous, because the person who knows when the attack happens has so many advantages over the person who then has to counterplan against it. I love that I'm back at the time I started at. After a little while, we build up a good number, and we don't have to worry about all those watch hours that are carried away in bad resolutions by our overlords. It worked well in the Winter Soldier, but that was used dramatically correctly. Let's see, about the Red Guardian. Yes, standing for something other than myself did work well for the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier seems to he gets back there, but then this is comic book accurate, at least. Like, he's drifting back and forth. The thing is, when they want to use comic book accurate as an excuse for a gag, they'll use that. But in the meta of the cinematic world, Bucky Barnes should not be washing his Wakandan Winter Soldier arm, which he views as a great gift from the Wakandans that helped him move on from his Winter Soldierness, in the fucking washing machine. I'm sorry, in the dishwasher. Even though it was kind of funny, I thought it was cringe funny, but I sniffed. It's like not even like a sub snicker. And the crowd didn't laugh. People just it happens. It happened. He pulled out a dishwasher and put it on. I didn't hear anything. It's not like the theater laughed. I think the only wow was when the Fantastic Four were revealed to be the spaceship that was coming on the TV. That was the only time people were like, but it was like, huh? Because they didn't expect it. That was it. It wasn't like genuine interest. It was just like, oh, wow, wow. And so whatever. Everyone in that theater knew that there was going to be a Fantastic Four movie, because we saw the trailer for it, which is still unrated, but is so rated G. They're leaving it unrated and all this other stuff it's part of the PR meta of this whole thing. And what I'm seeing and sensing is a deep sugarcoating of what's otherwise a bad idea. We saw their retro spaceship again. It seems like that's all they got. It's all they got. But the Winter Soldier cinematically should not be flip about his Wakandan arm. Let's see. The nano flesh face camouflage was terrible. Okay, yeah, it was used terrible. If you use it just once or something like that, that's one thing. It was used 6 times in 10 minutes in the Black Widow movie in the middle of it there, where they were punking each other left and right with that. And it's it didn't change 55-year-old Rachel Weisz's body into 28-year-old ScarJo's body. I'm not buying that one just yet. I'm sorry, call me a caveman. And then Rachel Weisz still looks lovely, but give me a break. And so and why doesn't everyone wear one in that world? But so they walked away from that. The brutality of which they kill and pick their stands to die in the movies has improved dramatically. The targets have improved dramatically. In Wakanda Forever, they kill hundreds of U.S. soldiers and sailors and CIA agents in a scene where Namor and his people, his blue Mexicans, attack. It sounds like a drink. I'll have a blue Mexican. Or like a fucking really good Texas kind of blues act, right? The blue Mexicans. I don't know. But the bottom line is it can't always work, right? I don't know. But it's good to see all of you here. The arm for cinematic Bucky is a much more important thing than it is to comic book Bucky, who would wash it in a dishwasher, because the comic book Bucky has an adversarial relationship with the arm. as was told to me by Germ and somewhat confirmed by Crimlon, who have more comic book info than me, but I'm good with the cinematic universe, and I think I found my stride here with this nonsense. Is if I see the movies, then I'm in the Marvel review game. I can have conversations, but if I watch the TV shows, it is so sickeningly bad. I was happy enough to just get filled in by other stuff rather than go and do anything more than watch Black Widow, which is terrible. Black Widow is terrible. Just terrible. The nanoflesh face camouflage, at least we walked away from that. Our killing chads, they calmed down on it, thank God. Your Imperial stormtroopers can't be U.S. soldiers. Now, this was a huge problem that they didn't acknowledge in Falcon, and it didn't make sense in Falcon Man. In Falcon Man, a lot of people fall under mind control, and while they're under mind control, they get killed just like they intend to do it. There's no mercy shown to it. And in the meta of the movie, it doesn't reflect on we've had to kill a few innocent people here. And Sam Wilson just like is cold-blooded. And so I judge that movie as having no morality. For if they're not doing anything bad, it needs to be in there. Like if there's something, again, like they want to be comic accurate. They're like, oh no, the comic book clearly gets us off the hook. It's like, well, no, it wasn't in your movie. In your movie, it looked pretty brutal and immoral. So our Chad killing has gotten better because it doesn't seem like there was anyone in most of those cars that were chasing our heroes for a while there. The cars that seem to have AI controls and AI controlled machine guns on them. That seemed to be the kind of thing that was being controlled by someone with like cyber warfare kind of experience, you know, someone like, it's like a vehicular drone, a ground vehicular drone, a land bound drone. But like, it did not seem like there were actual people in it. If there were, they were bad guys, but we don't see them. The cars have inescapable fates. They're blown to bits by Bucky Barnes. But then again, he blows the car that our heroes are in up just as bad. It flips over end, and they just stumble out coughing. So, like, the A-Team was never as unbelievable, but we don't make it so obvious because the windows on the vehicles are tinted. It's implied that they're robotically controlled, but we don't know. But they probably are. The thing is, we don't see enough to be offended by it. They are reduced to stormtroopers. There's no Hydra, but there are people who are on like side bad guy Ox Corporation. I think that's what it's called, the Ox Corporation. It's not the greatest movie. One of the things I saw was like, you can enjoy this movie without having to worry about being confused. It actually is so interwoven with other Marvel lore that it's ridiculous. It's just that the Marvel lore is so dumb and so bad and so non-sticky as far as it doesn't. It's like they break their own rules and it doesn't make sense that they have to contradict themselves to do anything anyway. So like the rule breaking is just, it's baked in. So the fact that it's just, that this movie, they said, is the most cohesive Marvel story in a long time, 250% true. It's 250% true that this is the most cohesive movie that they've had in a really long time. And hello, all my friends. 10 people. Wow. If you just got here, if you could be so nice enough to hit that like button. I'm trying to get to 30. I don't know. It's worth the effort. And I love that you're here. Thank you for letting me entertain you. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the improvements are, it was shorter, but not short enough yet. The runtime, a little bit of a lesson learned if you sit down and think about the idea that multiverse of madness, and I'm definitely sure Wakanda Forever was like 2 hours and 48 minutes or something. It's real long. It's a burdensomely long fucking movie. I've quit it like 5 times. That movie sucks. I think I did finish it in 12-minute like fits and starts. It sucks. That is one of the worst movies I have seen. Wakanda Forever is terrible. 15, halfway to my goal. Thank you guys so much for the likes. Anyone else coming through later? I want to get to 30. It means a great deal to me. Listen, we had an inner monologue to start this movie that meant nothing. It didn't have to be there. So since inner monologues are considered weakening to your movie, why have one that's meaningless right up front at a moment your movie needs to be strong? It has arguably a fairly strong stunt with her jumping off a skyscraper, pulling a parachute, and then using the parachute to swing and like release and crash through plate glass and start her attack. but the whole Bob thing is like, it was dumb. Bob didn't need to be in the movie. He was a bad antagonist. And it's nice to see everyone greeting each other. Thank you, Lombardi 1969 and everyone else for showing the love back and forth. I appreciate the community feeling. You guys are great. And you got the Thunderbolts review because I wanted to give you back something for all you've done for me. And you have done so much. No community has been so loyal. And we're going to have, and there's going to be an emphasis on video essays for Strange New Worlds in June. Taylor Sheridan stuff with Landman will come. It's coming. And that'll be great for the channel. And I'm going to do content for it. But we're going to be covering, if it happens, because it's still no announced date for a show that's in June. June is in 4 weeks. Okay? It's announced for June. Nothing more specific. Could it be that the Ellisons completing the deal were able to say, no, stop? Because Section 31 was such a damaging movie, but if you walk away from it now, you might be all right. Kurtzman never walks away from anything. He'll lie about it and then double down on it in the story. He says that there's no more Star Trek Discovery. What about Tilly and Saru being in that future dimension? Or being in the future where Kovitz / fucking Daniels from Enterprise is hanging out? What about that bullshit? And what about all the experiences the people from Strange New Worlds have with the people from Discovery? None of that happened, but the dialogue was really stupid. That took a step back. In both Captain Falcon and this, the dialogue was really fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. And this one felt very Star Trek Discovery in the sense that people would walk in, have a verbal explosion, like literally, absolutely verbally vomiting, verbal diarrhea, where they're just absolutely tanking out and sounding foolish on screen. And it is the worst exposition, and they speak in exposition, and every character has the same sequence of events, and it's very Star Trek Discovery. What happens is someone will walk into the room, and everyone's like, go fuck yourself. And the leader of this group is Yelena. No matter what they say, Bucky is maybe the most senior person to be doing good stuff on a regular basis. The leader is Yelena. Yelena walks around scoffing at people and being an asshole. That's the way they act. Like, she's like, I am Yelena, and I give no shits, and you can kiss my ass, and I do not care, and go fuck yourself. You do not impress me, Mr. Bucky Barnes, who is the Winter Soldier, who is 100 years old, who is friends with Captain America, what fought in the battle with the Wakandans at the end of the Infinity War. You do not impress me. Kiss my ass. That's how she talks. Like, she'll walk up, and like that's how she blurts out people's backstory. And to a lesser extent, when he does talk, because he's a little bit quieter than everyone else, so he comes out of the movie okay again as U.S. agent. He doesn't do it as badly. But like Ghost, who doesn't really talk much, it all sort of falls to Yelena, who like she just tells people off. And the other people, when they do have what it takes to come back at her or talk to her, like Bob or whoever it might be, what happens is they act like Tilly from Star Trek Discovery or like Jar Jar Binks, like a character with a mental defect. And they're like, oh, Misa, Bob, Misa, no understand why people try to snipe off my face. Oh no, this mooey, oh yeah, big doo-doo. Oh no, that's no Poodoo the Force. Oh yes, mighty powerful ally. It's this characters with mental defects. This is like basically trying to think of someone else from the movie because they didn't use Joaquin. Red Guardian would walk in and be like, hello, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine of Congress, United States. I am the Red Guardian, hero Soviet Union. That's like how the people talk in this universe. And then she would be like, she's a smug default character, right? She'd be like, oh, okay, so anyway, I'm on the phone. Just give me a second. And then she would like finish her phone call and he would, for some reason, let her. And they would have the awkward exchange where she would end up in charge. Then we have other characters like Ghost is pretty nonverbal, but say Bob the Sentry does it, and also Mel, the character who's the assistant to Dave Fontaine. Mel will just be like, oh my God, like you're Bucky Barnes, you're like the guy from Brooklyn who got frozen and is friends with Captain America. So anyway, I work for the Senator, Dave Fontaine, and, I can help you out. So here's what you need to know. And like, so everyone's just always nervously blurting out their backstory and their exposition. And we do this over and over. Every single scene resets itself. It's a dysfunctional team dynamics with political and satirical overtones. They're not undertones. And it's inappropriate humor with the tonal issues. It's just, there's idiot music playing whenever anyone says anything admirable. Like the music's all out of touch with the movie. When it's good, when they're playing the Avengers music, they're all lying and they know a lie is happening. When they're being introduced as the new Avengers, they're looking at the person doing it like, the fuck? And it's been put over on them. They're tricked and lured into it. And it's kind of a last resort for the villain to do it. And everyone scoffs at it. And in the final montage, it's magazine covers doubting it. So my overall impression is that Thunderbolts is a messy, boring, and poorly crafted film that fails to capitalize on what was once an intriguing anti-hero premise. It's now way overused. It's bogged down by a lot of over-reliance on Marvel's past, unfocused character arcs. See, that's why it's so clear. Really unfocused characters and character arcs. A lack of coherent stakes. Like, what are they doing this for? And Bob the Sentry's arc, what is he doing? He's unhappy because he's sad because he isn't happy. And Yelena's leadership being the most prominent flawed elements. It's like, she just ramrods and pushes people around being a fucking asshole. She is so mean to everyone all the time. The film's humor, action, and political subtexts are just outright forced. And it's a super stupid conclusion that prioritized branding over substance. The improvements, they don't kill U.S. soldiers. The runtime is still an issue, but it's not as terrible. The true villain, which is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, doesn't truly win. But they're all right, and they're vindicated at the end. They get out of it in one piece. Yelena whispering in her ear that they got the goods on her. She could just have Yelena killed or launch a successful denial campaign. Like, opinions aren't going to happen just because Yelena is amazing in the meta of the movie. And by the way, they've, like, to remind us of the real world a little bit, they've styled Julia Louis-Dreyfus on, what's her name? On Tulsi Gabbard. She's styled just like Tulsi Gabbard. She has this weird streak in her hair that's reminiscent of Alexandra from Josie and the Pussycats. It's just this like bluish silver streak or gray streak that runs down the front of her hair. And it's just the same thing Tulsi Gabbard does. And I guess that's the illusion they're trying to make. But it's not like they brought her in to do it. She inherited this from... Like, they started using her when Robert Redford started moving out, and Robert Redford is moving on from doing it after Gary Shandling just dies. The bad person in the government role was, like, supposed to be the same person. Gary Shandling, we lost him too young. Robert Redford retires, and now we got Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Hopefully, we'll get some mileage out of her as the villain, but she has no villain skills, and she's still playing effectively and correctly to the way she's directed, but the movie sucks. She's still playing the same character she plays in 1989's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the sunglasses-wearing yuppie bitch. I mean, she's still just a bitch character. That's what she does. She plays uncool, inadmirable characters. And again, we are beating up the panel show. I thank you guys for making me number one in this time slot as far as out of this so-called community, I guess, that I'm part of. Although, I think that with my uploaded and edited content, I do aspire for more. I'm not there yet, but Disparu, God bless you for taking time out of your day to talk to the Admiral a little bit, and God bless Disparu for all he does for Star Trek. He's going to be having a lot of Star Trek stuff, and maybe Doomcock will have a few minutes where he at least either has me on or has Sean talk about Strange New Worlds a little bit, because we are not looking forward to it, but we are going to expose it for what it is. Our channel fights back. Our fleet fights back in the only way we can. We will tell people not to watch it and not engage with the people who make it, which is to say, we don't want you to bother anybody. We're not trying to deprive anyone of their way of life or living. We're not making any judgments on how people live, but the show's not fucking good. And we're going to be honest about why it's bad and why we're not going to endorse it. But me and my friends have an obligation to deliver Star Trek news and information along with the Star Trek watch party. So what we'll do is we're probably going to do the Enterprise watch party as one segment, and then we're going to do the Strange New World review for about a half hour at the start or end of the show. I haven't figured it out yet. Is ending on a tumultuous, crazy rant the way to go? Or is ending on a positive the way to go? I just can't tell you. I know that I'm looking forward to watching a lot more Enterprise, but we are going to skip the painful Xindi arc. I don't need a daily reminder of 9/11. I want to say, I hope you guys didn't hear that. I tried to mute while I had a little bit of a coughing moment there. I want to say, I hope that people appreciate that. I just don't want to dive deeply into a 9/11 analogy on a regular basis. It's a little too painful and a little too close to home. And I can't do it for 26 episodes. So we're going to do the best of this Xindi arc. We're going to do some of the really standout episodes. But the whole thing, we're going to try to get to the point where we're starting the original series by about the holidays. And like I said, to really document the original series, I'm going to have to make uploads, and I can't be doing them every week or fall so far behind that it becomes impossible, because I want to make quality ones and I want to be passionate about it while I'm making it, not doing catch up. And for those of you who watch the video essays, I can't thank you enough. And by the way, I believe you're talking about how the arm was different in the movies and the comics. It works well in the Winter Soldier, but that was used dramatically incorrectly. Or are you talking about the Chads that were, whether or not we killed Chads? We tried to avoid killing Chads. Oh, the face camouflage. Yeah, it was better. They don't use it in they use it in the Winter Soldier here and there. It wasn't over the top, but it wasn't good. It wasn't a strong suit of that movie. People like that movie, but that's not a strong suit or a beloved part of it. And it doesn't work. It wouldn't change enough to make it work the way it does in certain cases. It was a little bit ridiculous. Anyway, Taskmaster out of the movie real quick. Shouldn't have even been in the poster. It was housekeeping with Taskmaster. That Taskmaster was so hostile to the Taskmaster of reality or comics that they had to get rid of it. She had to be dusted off. It just didn't fit. It was bad for the lore. It was bad for the stories. It was bad for everyone. And so, like, what little improvements they did have, I see if there is anything else here. They still, the villain doesn't win, but they're okay. That's not an improvement. That's more of the same. Although the movie was less full of itself, it was overly self-effacing. They're almost fourth walling it. Too much Deadpool was allowed to bleed over into this movie. The meta of a world that Deadpool is the king of sort of is being allowed. The voiceover was so close to a fourth wall break because it was so dumb and needless, and so like in the moment and dumb and needless, and then also like out of time and out of tone and touch. It sounded like Leon the Professional in a movie that strove to have a comic tone, and then they deleted and undeleted a small human in this. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good look. This movie assumes you saw Black Widow, which is terrible, and it's got some events from Cap 4 just mentioned, because it couldn't be related to it, because that movie gets bogged down too much. And I had no one to root for or like. Second straight MCU Florence Pugh movie where they don't make her likable or allow her to be pretty. I've heard she's sexy. You would never know this. I mean, we saw so much more nostalgia and corporate branding than we saw sexiness. Unless like a face is like your whole thing. I mean, if you're really into faces, I mean, that is viable. I mean, but the thing is, why have anybody? But like, why not just do CGI and make everybody shaped like a rhombus? Florence Pugh allegedly has a great body. I don't know. But she wears this coveralls. She wears military combat fatigues, and they're not tailored. We've seen this done in like Barbed Wire had like some sexy military gear. We've seen it done in a way like the original Black Widow had some sexy like combat gear. Nope, not with Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh just wears fucking guy's pants and a guy's fucking t-shirt, and she's got her Black Widow shock bracelet on, and it makes no real sense. And she's not really in touch with the other Black Widow meta from the way that Natasha was a Black Widow. Yelena is a shit hero, man. And she whines and complains and quits her way through the movie. It's kind of an insult to like movies and storytelling in general. I found it to be an unfortunate distraction from anything good. It really was just not helping you out at all in any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you. But what are you going to do? That's life. I mean, Yelena was just not allowed to be pretty. Which is weird because they did allow, what's her face? The mother in Black Widow, who's like 50. She was allowed to be sexy. It seems like 50 is like the line where you're allowed to act outright sexy and start dressing like a teenager, and everyone else dresses like a frumpy, confused mom. Like, they've got it so backwards in the MCU. And in Star Trek, too, with like Rebecca Romijn dressing like all sexy, and she's like, all right, she looks great for 50, but like Ortega's is not allowed to be pretty at all. They attack her looks, and that woman is not as bad looking as Ortega's by any long stretch. She's kind of a little bit cute in her own way. And she's a nice person. I've seen her on video where she's nice. She's got terrible fashion, but she's nice. I didn't care for how she was dressed, but she was really, really, really nice and really cared about her fans. Lombardi 1969 hanging loose with us. We love it that you're here with me, man. I love you guys for supporting this show and being part of it. We're making a stand, and we're standing up for some freedom of expression here and for an independent view and an independent reviewer. And it's you guys that I had to thank for that. And, did I just get another comment at the moment that I switched views? No, we're still hanging loose with Lombardi 1969. It's good to see everyone out there. And let's see. You know what? Quite honestly, I could wax poetic about how Marvel movies used to be good, but no one wants to hear it anymore.
Shut up!
So let's talk about unauthorized Star Trek. I jumped on to the Midnight's Edge member stream, and I think there'll be another one coming soon. They're really good about it. You should all join Midnight's Edge. It's a bargain. It's like 99 cents. They let you go on there. You have a great time. And Tom and Andre treat you very well. They treat me very well. They're always very nice to me. And Andre's like, I can see it's our friend, Admiral Teag, the Star Trek guy. And I even get a little intro now, and they're very nice to me, and they're very engendering to me. And I know that like the two biggest co-subbed channels are our friend Culture Casino. Love you guys. Love you, brother. And also Midnight's Edge. So that's why I do go to the MCU movies for you guys. Like, I don't have like a great interest in seeing Thunderbolts, but maybe that makes it makes it a little easier for me to just passionately review it. Lord Toxic, hey, hello. I know Lord Toxic. He's a good guy. He's a friend. Tell Northern English Bastard I'll be there. I'm gonna watch some more Red Dwarf, and I'll be there. Future Echoes is on my list. Lord Toxic's a great guy. I had a fun time talking to him. I'll be talking to him again tomorrow. I can't wait to go on Northern English Bastard. I loved the experience last time. And hail Lord Toxic. Lord Toxic is a good guy and a friend. Let me see. I'm going to do you a little solid here. Let me go to that channel there. Lord Toxic's a great guy. You got to love him. Let me see if I can't harvest that link. There we go. It takes like a special touch to bring up the link the right way on the old YouTube. But that's something I like to do. I recommend this guy. Fun guy, nice guy. He was there when we talked Miami Vice. I think he was one thing, you know what, Lord Toxic, I remembered after our conversation when we were talking about how all the cops should know each other. Another thing going for it was the character played by D-Day from Animal House was Bruce McGill. That character was part of the Miami homicide detectives team, right? Here's the thing. We found out in another episode, I think it was called By Any Means Necessary, the one with Eartha Kitt, that in South Beach, the cops are bad. So the Miami Vice cops, they say, we are Miami-Dade. They're only the police of half of Miami. So South Beach, where Versace was killed, it's an even smaller town. Oh yeah, you know what? It's not that I'm kind. It's that I appreciate my friends, and I know what to recommend to my fans and my subscribers. I would never steer my subscribers wrong. I think that I'll give you the same endorsement I give everyone. I have had a couple of streams with Lord Toxic, and I've heard a few streams with him. I think he's a great guy. I think he's fun. I think if you follow him around, listen to the panels he's on, you'll get some interesting stuff, and I like streaming with him. I think he said some provocative and interesting things that you can make what you will of. Do I agree with every single thing he says? No, I don't know him well enough to do that, but I think he's probably worth listening to. Subscribe to his channel. I did. Give him a try. You might like it. I did. And if you don't, you can just quit. And if you subscribe to my channel and you hate it, same deal. If you're listening to me and you think it's interesting, give this a try. Subscribe to Admiral Teag. But here's Lord Toxic up on the screen. He's also in the chat. If you're watching later, there'll be a chat replay. And you can as well subscribe to Lord Toxic if you so like. And give him a try. He'll appreciate it. Like some of his videos at the very least. Help him get some traction. And you know what? On the bottom of my page, on my homepage, there's some people I recommend. They include Northern English Bastard. I have to answer him. I was like that I will damn well be there tomorrow. I will, I think you can answer him with an emoji. Should I send him the rainbow emoji to be a wise ass? No. I think we'll just, what's weird is the flame emoji's okay, but the rainbow flag emoji is like edgy taste. In my channel, private chat, we use the rainbow flag left and right, joking around with each other. Like, nobody has anything against that. I think it's maybe more the progress flag that I find to be questionable. Rainbow flag, whatever, like, it's from another time. It's grandfathered into the non-objectionable but not American flag category. It's like, go, have fun with it. But the progress flag, like, that's this new weird thing that I don't know anything about. I have some animosity towards it. The rainbow flag, it's not my flag, but I'm agnostic towards it. Like, it just doesn't inspire me to anger. It has a time and place, though. It doesn't belong in a school or nothing. But you know what? Like, one person who would be happy under that rainbow flag, in my father's opinion, when we watch Miami Vice, would be one Sonny Crockett. Let me tell you about a cop who's not as tough or as manly as TJ Hooker, Sonny Crockett. Sonny Crockett, who had authority as a homicide detective and undercover vice cop and narcotics. Sorry, not homicide. Homicide are like the best of the cops. He had autonomy to be a detective in half of the city of Miami. And he knew most of the cops. And when he came to New York, he was like a tough guy in pale pink pants, talking shit to New York detectives who at least had dark blue cop-like suits. And the New York cops like, we hate your ass, pretty boy weirdo. And I want to say my dad was a real New York City detective. And my dad would sit there, and I'm being honest, this is serious, from my youth. He would sit there, secured his weapon, throw it up on top, the highest shelf in the house so no one could mess with it. We knew not to mess with that thing. And, he'd pop open a beer, and he would sit back and we'd watch the Mets, or we'd watch the Yankees, or sometimes we'd watch Miami Vice. And I remember my dad comparing Crockett to Simon LeBon. And then with, I guess my dad was pretty hip. He was a cop, right? I just remember, like, during one episode of Miami Vice, my father looked at Philip Michael Thomas Tubbs and he goes, ain't that the guy they say married Michael Jackson's sister? So, like, he was with it enough to think he was like, it's El DeBarge and Simon LeBon fighting crime. And he would sit there misgendering Crockett over and over and over. And he would use a word that was like, what he would call him a British cigarette over and over and just be like, cop walk into work wearing fucking pink. And he was just like, these guys, he would have hated them in New York. And when the New York cops scoff at them, it's great. I recommend Northern English Bastard. I'll be there tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, we've got my Enterprise watch party. It should be a blast. And I want to take a look at our channel poll. Let's see what you, our channel members, are thinking. And let's bring it up here on the screen so that we can share together. I believe we have isolated beautiful Sydney Sweeney from your opinions as far as you'll be able to see her and what yes, we have done this successfully. Now, let's look. MCU question. 16 votes. It's scientifically pretty goddamn viable. This is how our community feels, and I'll act according to this, more or less. 6% of you say yes, getting better. I made a case about the terrible things they stopped doing. Less bad is still kind of better. It's not good, but it's getting better. I think that there are tangible, less bad stuff. Now, we saw in a very recent movie, they were blowing away innocent people who had fallen under mind control and not worrying about it. So I don't know still. But in this movie, we seem to keep the Imperial stormtroopers or the zombies or the robots that we blew away stayed that level of humanity, and the movie didn't engage in it. It wasn't that deep or that thoughtful, and we were lucky to get that way. 16 of you voted, so 6% believe it's getting better. I would say that I 6% am with you. It's quite honestly a true thing to say, because there has been some evidence of harm reduction. The only thing is it's contingent on it continuing. We can't fall back on killing a bunch of soldiers. To be fair, it's been a while since Wakanda, which I believe was the real low. Multiverse of Madness could at least be called daring. It wasn't, but you could call it that. It wouldn't be a very sincere thing, but generously be called daring. Nope, it's getting worse, 31%. So a good deal of you, a third of you, think that it is getting worse. There are some aspects that are getting worse. The dialogue being so bad. So fucking bad. 2 movies in a row was really, really concerning. And the dialogue in the trailer for Fantastic Four is freaking awful. Now, the Thunderbolts looked like a real movie. It looked like a movie-worthy, theater-worthy movie, which is weird because Cap is allegedly the primary superhero. This movie's going to do better, I think, than that. I don't know if it's gangbusters. 200 million seems like it might be a little generous, but it could get there. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to make any box office predictions. I think it could probably get to the point where it's not the kind of liability. It certainly will never be the kind of liability Snow White was. I don't think it'll be the kind of liability that Captain Sam Falcon Man was, but I don't see it being a Captain America worthy of its predecessors as far as box office. Although I do think Captain America 1 took a long time to make money because it was a very sort of plot-heavy movie that had a lot of introduction of the Avengers idea. You got like 1 more minute to vote if it means anything to you as I take a quick sip of Cherry Coke. I so needed that Cherry Coke. Woo! I can see why George Lucas says it makes you more creative. I can feel the creative juices just flowing through me like fire, like unlimited power. The best experience I've had in the movie theater this week was Revenge of the Sith. I went back to see it the second time. It was freaking great. Revenge of the Sith, best movie this year. So far, highest grossing movie of the month. 900 million made in just 6.5 days. They didn't give it a great 7-day release. It should be extended, but it won't be. They're dumb. I would see it again. I saw it twice. People reacted and cheered both times. Kyle Cullen, thank you. I love that we're getting more reactions. We're going to get ready to close out our poll. Like I said, just a moment more to vote. Do what you need to on this one. I want to see how you feel. We care. All right. So 3, 2, 1, and action. Pause for prawn. Deep breath. This way, there's like the buffering of the time gets through and you hear me say last minute and have like that full last moment. So yeah, so 62% staying about the same. That's fair because the improvements may fairly be said to be offset. So like the thing is, all these answers are defensible. Like this is not a divisive question because nope, it's getting worse. Psh, that dialogue, man, and a couple of other things. But the 6% who did say it was getting better, maybe it was after I made a real strong case. You don't see what isn't there. So I tried to do that with this movie. My father was a trained criminal investigator, and we watched TV and cop shows together. And he used to put those shows to the task. He used to tear apart cop shows in real time. He talked all through every serious cop show. He fucking hated them. He only liked Barney Miller. Only one he said was a real cop show that reflected the real world. Thank God my father was that lighthearted. That's the dad who raised me. Adoption is a great effing thing. If you haven't joined my channel community, you might consider it to get access to some of these great emojis like the Yellowstone emoji. Or a channel favorite, Patton. Everyone loves Patton. Patton, a channel favorite here among everyone. Everyone here on this channel basically loves Patton. What can I say? One of our great orators, one of our greatest movies ever.
2,000 years ago, I was here. Well, this match will not be postponed.
I have had an awesome time hanging out with you guys. I don't know what's going on. Have we entered Contest of Wills territory? Do I hang out just a little longer to see if I can get, the great engagement to go on? Because I love having 80 of you hanging out here with me. And I'm fairly confident that we've turned over a decent amount of the audience, maybe once, because we've been on for a little while. And this is one of the longer shows, and it's still not quite at the 2-hour mark, is it? Let me just check. No, 149. We're going to bring this one in well under schedule. I can't wait to see Red Dwarf tomorrow, where all of you are invited to join me before the Star Trek show. Join my channel. If you want, think about joining my community. Turn on gifting when you're around here if that's something you like. We do get gifties a lot of the time. DJ Play Nice is saying one of your dad's favorites too. He loved watching it with him. Patton, it's such a great movie. And it's got the Star Trek guy doing the score, so everyone loves that part about it. And, how do you not love the movie Patton? It's one of the all-time greatest films ever made. Lord Toxic is a great guy. He'll probably be there tomorrow. I showed you some of those great emojis we got. And, Bop 5. Bop 5. You know what? That was... His channel's live again. You should check it out. And... You know what? I will always want him to be remembered, among other things, aside from being a great Star Trek sage, his stand on freedom of speech. Let's hear it right now from Bop himself.
Hello, world. It's Berto Prey 5, and welcome to a stream by Admiral Teag. This man has asked me to provide a video to him. He said he didn't care what I said in it, to be honest. So I said, I can do that. I can do honest. The truth is, Admiral Teag, I don't really agree with most of what he says about Star Trek.
And that's the way I've always been as a pundit. I was friends with Bird of Prey 5, even though he disagreed with me. We were pals, man. I loved talking about Star Trek. And you know what was funny? Turns out that he did agree with a lot of what Admiral Teag had to say about Star Trek. At the end of the day, when we had so many great conversations, we agreed about Enterprise in a lot of ways. We agreed about the original series in so many ways. We disagreed, spiritedly and in good fun over Deep Space Nine. And it was rough, but fulfilling. Of all the people that we knew here, that I was able to at least go pay my respects in person. And out of all the YouTubers I've worked with, he was the only one I've met in person so far from YouTube. Unless it was someone from my own personal life I roped into doing something with me. And I've kept my personal life out of YouTubing. It's I don't lead with that. It's not who I am. I'm a YouTube entertainer, and we do entertainment discussions, and we try to keep it minimally political, if not apolitical completely. There are days where you have to talk about reality, but you know what? I am just so grateful to my community and all of you who have supported me through these tough times. It has been a tough year under siege from various forces, but there have been the pipes of peace being played. Now, RRTNZ, if he's still out there, will remember this one. Sometimes, my friends, I wonder, were we truly meant to dance to the sound of the lute, or to march to the beat of the drum? Were we? Who knows? I know that we will be covering the weird new Star Trek. I think Disparu is a mighty ally in this. He is making great video content. Watch for that. Watch for me tomorrow talking Red Dwarf with Northern English Bastard. That's going to be great stuff. You'll love that. I loved everything about the roughly 10 episodes I watched. I won't be watching a whole hell of a lot more because I watched enough. There are years and years and years of it. It is a great show. It is a great and funny show. I'll be spending, again, my Friday night getting ready for Northern English Bastard. And you know what? It keeps me out of trouble. We have a few minutes left, and what can I say about it? But to our 1923 viewers, there'll be more for you soon. That ending, what do you say about it? Right now, it's a Reddit discussion about alternate endings and what could have been better. I'm starting to lean towards highly imperfect, but the best you could get with streaming. The problem on that one might be streaming itself. I might be unwilling to totally blame it on Taylor Sheridan. We wanted Alex to die. No one wanted her to make it. She did die. Okay, that's almost good. Crimlon was happy about it. She could have either died earlier or like died, in a more enjoyable way than the long goodbye. It was like that was chosen to be Spencer's moment. There was another moment that they opted not to use with Spencer, where he had it out with Timothy Dalton verbally for a while. I believe that these parts that were filmed will make it to the screen. I don't know why parts 7 and 8 became a two-part, one-night movie event. And there was some obvious re-editing to make 7 and 8 meld together, where you felt like parts of one were pulled into the other. You could feel it. You could see it. It was well edited, but you could feel and see that some events had been moved around just a tiny bit, and it was right around the questionable think twice parts were all clustered from 55 to 65 minutes, where the 10 minutes where it would have been overlap, they moved somewhere, they smoothed out the transition there, because I think what happened was they took out the hard ending of one episode, threw it forward, and reduced its impact by having it be part of the second part of the episode. Because if we had to wait between 1 and 2 of those 2 episodes, man, we would have been so miserable, because part 1 of that hour, like, honestly, how dare you? It was so slow, and it was the second hour paid off. But if that first hour had been left to be analyzed for a week,
I've gone too far in a few places.
Yeah, you could say that again. And, sometimes with some of these choices, the question is one that we've heard asked in Star Trek.
Spock, why? All you had to do was pull the trigger.
But you know what? That's the thing we have to remember. All of our cinematic experiences, and really all our Star Trek, can be captured in a few moments. I don't have to give you guys any prompting. Every single person here recognizes this moment.
Spock! Spock!
Everyone knows where they were the first time they heard it. And then the reply.
Ship. Out of danger.
I never took the Kobayashi Maru until now, Admiral. I'm curious as to what you think of my solution. One of the most emotional, amazing moments, and we owe that to the genius of Star Trek. We're going to call out the people doing Strange New Worlds. Hey, Sci-Fi Mommy, good to see you. You know that one way too well. Yeah, we've all cried with Captain Kirk. And we can't reach those heights if we compromise. And one of the reasons why we lost the battle to bad storytelling is because we didn't draw the line with Star Trek. Imagine if the crazy mind virus ideas that don't work on screen, the things that were overrepresented, be they real or be they not, overrepresented and jammed down our throat to the point of making Star Trek a little bit predictable and boring. Did that really help us as stories? Would we have been poorly served to have more mundane characters who are still aliens? Did we have to have dumb hothead Spock? Did we need snarky bitch Ortega's second-guessing Pike puke every time? I'm so glad I called Picard discard so I can call Pike puke. I have nothing but contempt for this puke character. He is such a stick figure voodoo doll for the hierarchy. And I don't know how the rest of you feel about this, but I feel that we see played out in most beginnings of Strange New Worlds, sort of what I would call a disconnected and highly extreme feministic, and I won't assign this to a political philosophy because it's so wrong. It is a fantasy view of how life always works. Instead of an exception, it's the rule. Is crazy, unacceptable real-life scenarios rule the day on Strange New Worlds. What happens is this. At the beginning of every episode, Admiral April calls Pike and tells Pike that he needs him to do whatever. While Pike is having this unpacked to him, he looks visibly confused for most of it. A lot of the times, he'll look to Spock, who's got nothing. Spock's got nothing. He's completely confused. Ethan Peck, whatever. He's got nothing. He's just like, what's his claim to fucking fame? That out of everyone he could sing, okay? So he's confused. It could be. Spock has no idea. And so, then Pike looks kind of incredulously back at the monitor while Admiral April, who sort of has a clue, is going on about what the mission should be. And while Pike is looking absolutely dumbfounded at the screen, we see Una look at Ortegas and look at Uhura. And they exchange and look at Connie, Leon Naunian Sung, who should not be around. And as much as I might like some of these actresses, and I don't mind any of them, I like Rebecca Romaine. I like Melissa Navia. She made me like her with her ex. She's nice. She's simply nice. I like Connie, Leon Noonien Sung. I like Christine Chiang. I like them all. But when I see them in this guise as these characters, boy, it's a real drag. And they exchange these knowing looks like, oh, let him feel like he accomplished something. And then as they end the episode with the problem being solved, always by the women, in spite of Pike's first instinct, he's always wrong at first. They refocus him on what's right. They fix the problem through divine intervention and like pure girl power, and it's just the truth. And at the end of the episode, what we have is Pike then is back on the view screen with Admiral April, and the same thing happens. The female bridge crew members exchange knowing looks while April goes, "Gosh darn it, Pike, you've done it again. You fixed that problem." And Pike's like, "Yes, I did." And Spock looks at him confidently, and he looks at Spock, and they nod, and it's like, oh, and it's kind of disingenuous storytelling. But you know what? I can see that the Pac-led freighter has gone to warp. That means that I am now in danger of a bot swarm. So even though I have a great 10 people here, and I'd love to stick around, you know what? What does having this percentage of my subs involved in a live stream say? If you apply the math laid out by my main primary critic yesterday about how 10 of you out of 2,400 viewers to come on unannounced is somehow a bad thing, we had a couple hundred people watch the stream. We're going to top out at that in a day or two. I'm sure it'll be great. It always works out, and it takes a while for people to find out. I don't have the advantage of promoting. I don't have the advantage of going out there and waiting for the stream to be found by people. I have to go out there and rough it and have 10 of you now. Let me tell you something. It is not only a compliment, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you had to overcome some stuff to get here. And together, this particular community is going to get to the point where we're going to make a difference in the conversation about modern Star Trek. We're going to go out there and we're going to make some videos about Strange New Worlds. Didn't get to 30 likes. If you haven't liked, could you like it? Like it coming through, help it get to 30. And this way I can thank you next week. I love you all. You guys are, in fact, the best. The poll was closed. It was pretty defensible. I think if we made a pie chart of how I felt in my heart, it would be the same thing. I want to thank all of you for being here. You know the deal. It's unfortunate but true that if I stick around and say goodbye for too long, the withering beam can be shot at the channel. So what I got to do is when I leave, I got to leave. And I love you all, and I thank each and every one of you. I'm glad I was able to keep on top of the chat and greet everyone as they came in pretty much. If I missed you, apologies from the bottom of my heart. If you're coming through later, thank you very much. And if you can, leave a comment after you hit refresh when I'm done with this stream. And leave you even an emoji and your Star Trek comments and questions, or any questions and comments. I try to answer each and every one. And I thank you, and I love you all.
I'll ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
That's right.
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
This channel brought to you by Admiral Teag, and I want to thank the fan funding for my good friend RRTNZ. I will see you guys all tomorrow on Northern English Bastard, who's recommended on my homepage, and I will see you tomorrow night at around 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next exciting episode of Star Trek. And